Welcome to this presentation on the use of the SU Model 2075 valve grinder. This versatile machine will allow you to grind the face of a valve and the valve stem with the accuracy needed to restore cylinder head performance. Before we begin, it is important to mention safety precautions that must be taken when using this machine. Always wear eye protection. Always handle grinding wheels carefully. Never use a wheel that has been dropped. Wheels that are cracked should be removed from the machine immediately. Remove adjusting keys and wrenches before turning on the machine. Always use the guards provided. Do not operate the machine without the belt guard. Keep the machine and the immediate work area clean and uncluttered. Keep your hands clear of the grinding wheels. Maintaining a safe working environment to protect yourself and others is always a top priority. Be sure you are comfortable with the safety of your space and equipment before beginning any work. We will now demonstrate the operating features and proper procedure for valve grinding on the SU Model 2075. Valve grinder, dressing the left wheel. In order to maintain a precise grinding surface that will result in the most accurate finish on a valve face, the left wheel of the machine should be resurfaced or dressed any time the grinding head is repositioned. For example, if you are setting up to grind a set of valves at 30 degrees after you've ground a set of valves at 45 degrees, the wheel should be dressed. Dressing should also be performed when a new wheel is installed. In order to begin dressing the grinding wheel, the carriage must be positioned at the left stop. Adjust the diamond holder if needed to ensure there is no more than a 3/8 inch overhang in front of the post. This will provide rigid support for the diamond while minimizing vibration during the dressing process. Raise the wheel guard so the dressing tool can be brought into position. Loosen the hold down and position the dressing tool so that the diamond holder is left of the left side of the wheel and at about a 15-degree angle to the side of the wheel. Tighten the hold down. The diamond should be positioned just off the grinding wheel. Install the rubber shield in the chuck to protect the inside of the chuck from wheel grit. Turn on the grinding head switch, which will spin the grinding wheels. The chuck motor switch does not need to be turned on when dressing the wheel. Move the carriage lever to the right so as to position the diamond in the middle of the wheel. Using the feed screw hand wheel, advance the grinding wheel to the diamond slowly. As soon as the diamond touches the wheel, stop advancing. Position and turn on the coolant to minimize wheel dust. Slowly move the carriage to the right until the diamond clears the wheel, then slowly to the left until the diamond clears the wheel. With the diamond off the wheel, advance the diamond 5/10,000ths of an inch by turning the feed screw hand wheel. The feed screw micrometer is graduated in increments of 1/1000th of an inch, so you will be advancing the diamond by 1/2 of one of these increments. Traverse the face of the wheel once again. Slowly move the carriage lever to the right until the diamond clears the wheel, then slowly to the left until the diamond clears the wheel. Turn off the coolant. Turn off the grinding head switch. Examine the grinding wheel to see if it has a smooth finish. If it is smooth, you are done dressing the grinding wheel. If the grinding wheel is not smooth, repeat the grinding procedure until it is. When you are done, rotate the diamond 1/4 turn so that the next time the diamond is used to dress the wheel, a different part of the diamond tip will be used, which will keep the point of the diamond sharp. Loosen the hold down. Position the dressing tool out of the way, then tighten the hold down. Lower the wheel guard. After the left wheel is dressed, you're still not ready to grind. Now you must dress the right wheel. Valve grinder, dressing the right wheel. In order to maintain a precise grinding surface that will result in the most accurate finish on a valve stem tip and chamfer, the right wheel on the machine should be resurfaced or dressed whenever the wheel surface is not smooth. Begin by turning on the grinding head switch. Lift the dressing arm up toward the grinding wheel until the diamond is directly in front of the grinding wheel. Position and turn on the coolant. Adjust the diamond holder until contact is made with the wheel. As soon as the diamond touches the wheel, stop advancing. Slowly move the dressing arm to the right until the diamond clears the wheel, then slowly to the left until the diamond clears the wheel. With the diamond off the wheel, turn the diamond holder inward 1/32 of a turn. Slowly move the dressing arm to the right until the diamond clears the wheel, then slowly to the left until the diamond clears the wheel. Turn off the coolant. Turn off the grinding head switch. Examine the grinding wheel to see if it has a smooth finish. If it is smooth, you are done dressing the grinding wheel. If the grinding wheel is not smooth, repeat the dressing procedure until it is. With both the left and right wheels dressed, you are ready to begin working with the valve to be ground. Grinding the face of the valve. Before grinding the face of the valve, you need to determine if the valve stem has worn to a point where the diameter is not within specifications. If it is not within specifications, a new valve must be purchased. If it is within specifications, the next step is to examine the face of the valve. The valve face should be examined for signs of burning. Burning of the valve will have eroded enough of the face that cannot be corrected by grinding. The strength of the metal will also be compromised. Any sign of burning is cause for a replacement of the valve. If the valve stem is within specifications and there is no sign of valve face burning, you may begin to grind the valve. To begin, loosen the chuck head knob no more than 1/4 turn. Use the handle on the side of the chuck assembly to locate the chuck head at the exact angle you wish to refinish the valve. That angle is found in the specification for the engine you are working on. For the valve used in this demonstration, it is 45 degrees. Next, tighten the chuck head knob. Do not over-tighten. Remove the rubber shield and rivet from the chuck by turning the chuck sleeve counterclockwise. Loosen the aligner bar set screw. Loosen the chuck sleeve and insert the valve in the chuck so that the rollers engage the stem just above the worn area of the stem. Close the chuck sleeve to contact the stem. Adjust the aligner bar to contact the tip of the valve stem. Tighten the aligner bar set screw. Pull the chuck lever back and tighten the chuck sleeve 1/32 of a turn. With the lever still pulled back, make sure the tip of the valve is touching the aligner bar. Then release the chuck lever. The chuck will now accept all valves of the same size with no further adjustment. Remove the valve and install the proper sized chuck shield over the valve stem. Install the valve into the chuck. The shield will keep oil and grit out of the chuck. Adjust the guard by loosening the thumb screws and position the guard about 1/8 of an inch from the wheel face and flip it up. Make sure there is a gap between the grinding wheel and the valve face before proceeding. This next adjustment ensures that the valve face will be centered on the wheel so that refinishing can take place as the carriage lever is moved right or left. Position the carriage lever to the extreme right. Adjust the carriage plate stop nut, located under the left skirt, so that the right edge of the valve is at the right side of the grinding wheel. Be especially careful to not touch the valve stem to the grinding wheel while making this adjustment. Move the carriage lever to the left and turn on the grinding head and chuck switches. Determine the chuck speed by looking at the placard mounted on the chuck cover. In this case, the valve diameter is less than 2 inches, so the proper speed is 300 RPM. Adjust the chuck to 300 RPM by turning the chuck speed knob. Using the carriage lever, center the valve face in front of the grinding wheel. Turn the hand wheel clockwise to advance the grinding head to just meet the valve face. Position the coolant nozzle. Turn on the coolant so it is delivered to the valve face. Set the micrometer thimble to 0 while holding the hand wheel stationary. Advance the grinding head toward the valve by turning the hand wheel clockwise. While watching the micrometer thimble, advance to 1/1000th of an inch. Move the carriage lever to the left and right across the grinding wheel. Always keep the face of the valve on the grinding wheel. If the face needs more grinding, advance the valve into the stone an additional 1/1000th of an inch and repeat the grinding process. Repeat the process until you think the valve face is smooth all the way around. You want to do this with the least amount of material removed from the face of the valve. It is important when grinding the face of the valve to not allow the valve to pass beyond either edge of the wheel. When grinding is complete, look at the micrometer thimble and record the amount of material that was removed from the valve face. This information will be used later when you dress the tip of the valve. When you think you have completed the grind and you have recorded the reading on the micrometer thimble, turn the hand wheel counterclockwise so that the valve moves away from the stone. Again, do not move the valve off the edge of the wheel, as this may mar the finish of the valve face. Turn off the coolant. Move the carriage lever to the left. Lower the guard and turn off the grinding head. Make a final inspection of the valve face. Be sure there are no imperfections on the face of the valve. If there is, further grinding is needed. With the valve face grinding completed, measure the margin of the valve with a steel ruler. A good margin will measure 1/32 of an inch or more in width. If the width is good, like this one, the valve can move on for tip dressing. To remove the valve from the chuck, pull back on the chuck lever and pull out the valve and release the chuck lever. There is no need to loosen the chuck. If your measured margin width is 1/32 inches or more, remove the rubber shield, put the ground valve in a numbered storage rack. That will ensure that this valve goes back into the valve guide it came out of. If the margin is less than 1/32 inches, the valve needs to be discarded and replaced with a new one. To install the next valve into the chuck, install the rubber shield. Pull back on the chuck lever and insert the valve, pushing it in until it bottoms out on the aligner bar that you previously adjusted for all the valves. Release the chuck lever. There is no need to tighten the chuck. Complete the grinding of all the valve faces. When all the valve faces are ground, make sure to insert the rivet into the rubber shield and install the rivet in the chuck. The next step is to true the valve stem ends. True valve stem ends. After the valve face is satisfactorily ground, the valve stem end must be squared and chamfered to ensure proper valve stem height. This ensures proper valve train operation. With the valve holder all the way to the right, loosen the valve stem clamp knob on the right side of the valve grinder and insert the valve in the V-groove. Tighten the valve stem clamp knob. Position the valve stem so that the tip is close to the wheel without touching it. Turn on the grinding head. Turn on the coolant. Move the dressing arm to the center of the grinding wheel. Position the coolant flow over the valve stem tip. Turn the adjusting knob clockwise until the tip just touches the wheel. Set the thimble to 0 without turning the adjusting knob. Begin grinding by turning the adjusting knob and noting the thimble movement. Turn the adjusting knob clockwise until the thimble indicates 1/1000th of an inch of movement. Move the dressing arm back and forth over the entire surface of the wheel. Continue grinding by turning the adjusting knob and noting the thimble movement. Turn the adjusting knob clockwise until the thimble indicates an additional 1/1000th of an inch of movement. Once again, move the valve holder back and forth over the entire surface of the wheel. Continue this valve tip grinding operation until you have removed the same amount of material as you removed from the valve face. For example, if you remove 4/1000ths off the face of the valve, remove 4/1000ths off the tip. When the tip is properly ground, shut off the coolant. Turn off the grinding head. and remove the valve from the V-groove. In addition to truing the stem end, you must also chamfer the valve stem tip. Chamfering the valve tip. Chamfering the valve tip will help ensure the tip of the stem will not crack or break off. A stem with little or no chamfer has a greater chance of cracking or breaking off. Place the chamfering attachment in the V-groove of the valve holder. Place the valve into the chamfering attachment and push it down to the end. Turn on the grinding head. Position and turn on the coolant. Hold the valve stem in the chamfering attachment with your thumb and turn the adjusting knob clockwise until the corner of the valve stem tip just touches the wheel. While holding the stem in place with your thumb and the stem tip touching the grinding wheel, rotate the head of the valve with your right hand 720 degrees. Remove the valve and inspect the chamfer. Look to see if the chamfer is complete all the way around the stem. If a greater chamfer is needed, place the valve back in the chamfering attachment. Advance the stem towards the wheel by 1/1000th of an inch and rotate the valve 720 degrees. Remove the valve and inspect the chamfer. Look to see if the chamfer is complete all the way around the stem. The width of the chamfer should not exceed 1/32nd of an inch. Proper stem squaring and chamfering will ensure proper valve train operation. When the chamfer is properly ground, turn off the grinding head and remove the chamfering attachment from the V-groove of the valve holder. You have now successfully completed the entire valve grinding process using the SU Model 2075 valve grinder. Before using the machine, be certain you are familiar and comfortable with the correct procedures for dressing both the left and right wheels, grinding the valve face, truing the valve stem ends, and chamfering the valve tip. If anything is unclear, please review that portion of the presentation and refer to this video whenever you have questions about the proper use of this equipment. It's also a good idea to view this presentation as a training refresher from time to time. Above all, remember to always work safe.